Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Today's podcast is sponsored by SLI Systems, providers of intelligent site search and navigation solutions. Learn more at sli-systems.com and listen to their interviews at ecommercepodcast.com. Welcome to the E-Commerce Conversation with Pat Callahan, a weekly podcast focusing on e-commerce topics, featuring interviews with prominent people in the e-commerce space. This week we will hear part 3 of an interview between Pat and Jim Miotke of BetterPhoto.com.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations with Pat Callahan. Today we're joined by Jim Miotke, president of BetterPhoto.com. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, Pat. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's great to have you on the show. We appreciate your time. Jim, you know the premise behind our magazine. Our goal is to help small to mid-sized e-commerce businesses get a better footing in the e-commerce world. The one question I have for you is, the big thing from the e-commerce side is obviously product photography. What recommendations do you have for those who are taking product pictures in order to sell merchandise? And maybe also some do's and don'ts.
Sure, I could definitely give tips with that. I speak every year at eBay Live on this topic and give tips on making really striking images of your products. And the good thing about it, Pat, is that it's really easy. It's not rocket science. There's a couple things that will put you up above, in the 80th or 90th percentile. And one is if you simply move in real close to your product. You just want to make sure that, say you're photographing a camera, maybe you're selling that, or whatever your widget is. You're photographing your widget. You don't want to have it, way out there on the living room floor with all that other stuff in the photo.
Okay.
So, you just move in close, fill the frame. And then the second thing is you simplify the background. I mentioned, like having your widget on the carpet of your living room floor, and that's obviously not going to look very good. But the solution is simple and not expensive. You don't have to go buy, thousands of dollars worth of studio lights and all that. All you need is a piece of paper. They sell this seamless paper in pro photo stores and other stores where, you just get a roll of this, either white or black or gray, or, those are the colors I like. I most often photograph products on a white backdrop. And you just, you can pin up a piece of this paper to a wall and have it come down. And then you simplify your background. And then, as far as lighting goes, I mentioned that you didn't need the expensive studio lighting, and that is true. You can photograph your product, like, just outside if it's, if the weather's nice. And by nice weather, I mean not a bright sunny day, but a bright overcast day, something with clouds in the sky to soften the light.
Oh.
That's the ideal. And, if it's not raining, but it's a bright overcast day, you can be outside. If it is a little wet or windy or marginal, then you can shoot maybe just inside a window or inside an open door to get this soft, bouncing, diffused light. And that will really help you a lot to soften that light. The only thing that you really get, Pat, when you buy an expensive set of lights is control. You control the weather. You don't have to wait for it to be nice. You can shoot your product at any time, and that is an advantage for many people because time is money.
Yeah,
so.
And it makes sense that The more you spend on lighting, the more you can control the weather, for sure.
Exactly.
Jim, is there anything else that perhaps I didn't ask that you'd like to add?
Well, it's fun because I find myself as a photographer, but I also see myself, owning and maintaining betterphoto.com as a business owner. And, I really love photography, Pat, but I also really love marketing. And so, it's one of my passions is I just love to read and soak in everything I can about, how you actually get your how you actually get your product out there and market it. So,
Sure.
It's an interesting thing when you're doing a web business. You have to have these two hats. And
yeah, for sure. And I think the same holds true for e-commerce.
Yeah, most definitely. And recently I've just had a slew of fantastic books that I've been reading, and you've probably read a lot of these, but there's an older book, seven years old, The Tipping Point by Malcolm.
I have read that book.
Yeah, and just full of fascinating ideas that are very applicable to e-commerce business owners. And so I had my whole staff read it, and we're reading it and discussing the ideas of, how you find connectors.
Yeah, that was the book that inferred that I might be a laggard, if I remember right.
Yes, exactly. I was kind of in the same level.
Yeah.
So, but they have all these different classes and qualifications, and right now I'm reading another great book called Made to Stick, which is very popular, and it kind of follows up with one of the concepts in The Tipping Point of making your messages sticky.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I find so much enjoyment out of this. I go out, photograph, I have fun, it's my creative outlet, but my work is just as enjoyable, just as full of passion and creativity because, thank goodness I'm doing what I love, and, I can enjoy reading these marketing books and putting the ideas into practice, and that's where it's all at.
Yeah, and I think photography really is something that should be fun. It shouldn't feel like work.
You really want it to. You really want it to be fun. You want it to be igniting your creativity, and that's why I do it, is because when I get out in the field, whether I'm just, photographing my kids in the backyard or at a national park, photographing the view at sunset or sunrise, I just feel in the now. I feel totally immersed in the present moment. I forget about all the worries and concerns about the future and, any regrets I might have about the past. Stop kicking myself, and I'm there.
Yeah.
That's what I want everybody to have, and that's why it's our mission at Better Photo to help people say yes to their creative dreams. That's our number one goal in life, is to help millions of people say yes.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
I think that's a great goal.
That's it.
Do you have any advice as far as printing out your pictures on your own?
Sure. It's very challenging now with digital, and I think hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people are out there with a digital camera just full of images, and then they just don't know what to do with them. And so it's so challenging that my one bit of advice is don't feel like you have to do it yourself. Just because there's that option there, you can get your own inkjet printer and print on your own, but you don't have to. You can take your memory card into any photo store, any photo lab, or even a Costco, or any place that has one of these kiosks, so you can put your card in, and you can get your prints. It's as easy as that. And also, if you use an online site, you can have your prints just printed online and sent to you in the mail, or sent to your friends and family. And that's where we're going with Better Photo. One of our next projects is to add printing as an option for our people who are doing lots of photo sharing and discussing, to be able to get their images printed. But that's my big thing, and even for me, I'm a professional photographer. I love to photograph and print and then sell my prints, but I often just outsource it and send them to a printer because, we only have 24 hours in the day.
For sure.
And also you can spend a lot of money doing test prints in your inkjet printer.
Yeah, and cartridges aren't real cheap.
No, they're not. It's really not a printer business. It's an ink business.
Exactly. I think those are great options that you just pointed out, and certainly a couple I had not thought about. So I think that's great. So, Jim, thank you so much for joining us on the e-commerce conversation with Pat Callahan. If you guys get a chance, head out to betterphoto.com. A lot of great resources, a lot of great information. And again, Jim, I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for this week's e-commerce conversation with Pat Callahan. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in next week for another new episode to find out who Pat will be speaking with.